Z2901 M3J Properties LLC and Z2887 Gata Rentals have requested continuances to the August 16th public hearing. All other cases are set to go forward tonight.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from the June 21st, 2023 public hearing as submitted.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. New business. We have a public hearing. Let me read our statement, our rules. For those unfamiliar with our procedures, the Commission would like you to know the following. When we hear a request to subdivide land, we are only concerned as to whether the actual drawing showing the division into lots meets the technical requirements of our ordinance. The question of appropriateness has already been determined. Anyone wishing to make comments or provide us with information regarding any subdivision petitions will be given the opportunity to do so. When we're hearing a request for a change in zoning, we're trying to determine if the new zone being requested and the uses allowed in that zone are appropriate to that property and supported by the comprehensive plan. With each case being heard, our staff will present its report. Then the person requesting the rezone will be given an opportunity to speak. Following that, those of you wishing to speak in favor of the rezone will be recognized, and those of you who wish to oppose it will have a turn. This will be your only time to speak. The person requesting the action will be allowed a rebuttal. Plan Commission members will then ask questions and finally vote. Please limit your statements to no more than 5 minutes. We ask that you not repeat what others before you have already said. We're a 17-member body, and a majority of 17 is 9. Regardless of how many commissioners are actually present, at least 9 votes in favor or 9 votes against are required for our action to be official. If fewer than 9 of us agree to either approve or disapprove an action, that case must be heard again next month. Our vote on a request to subdivide is final. Our vote on a request to rezone serves as a recommendation to the appropriate city council, town council, or county commissioners, who must ultimately decide on changes in zoning. When addressing the commission, please state your name and address for the record. Cell phones must be turned off while the meeting is in session. If you need to make a call, please step out of the room before using your phone. All exhibits presented to the commission become the property of the commission.
I move that there be incorporated into the public hearing portion of each application to be heard this evening and to become part of the evidence at such hearing, the Unified Zoning Ordinance, the Unified Subdivision Ordinance, the Comprehensive Plan, the bylaws of the Area Plan Commission, the application, and all documents filed therewith, the staff report and recommendations on the application to be heard this evening, and responses from checkpoint agencies.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'm ready to hear the continuances.
Larry, before you put Indiana American on the floor, it may not be able to be heard tonight, so let's go to the next case while they're figuring it out.
Okay, thank you.
Gotcha, we can do this.
All right, Gary?
I move to continue S 5137 Research Village Subdivision, Section 1, formerly known as the Platte Yeager Road, Major Preliminary, Z2899, Aaron Walker, R1 to R2U, Z2901, M3J Properties LLC, R1 to GB, and Z2887, Gaeta Rentals Incorporated, NB to GB, to the August 16th, 2023 public hearing.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I need to intrude at this point. S5138, they're missing a proof of publication, and they're going to try to see if they can procure it by the end of the meeting, like an email with an attachment. They don't have the physical proof, but I believe we've accepted an email scan before. You think you guys could pull this off before the end of the meeting, or do you want to just continue the case? Okay, all right. If that particular subdivision case could be bumped to the, presumably the end of the
Okay,
schedule here.
we'll go on to the next one, and If they come up with it, we'll come back
Right,
to
if they
it.
can't by the end of the meeting, then they'll have to continue.
Yes,
So-
thank you.
I move to hear and vote on S 5139 Barrington Woods replat of lots 13 and 14, minor sketch.
I second.
Okay. Petitioner's property is located here in the Barrington Woods subdivision. It's lots 13 and 14, zoned R1B. There's AW zoning to the west. Here's a look at the aerial photograph and a closer look. You can't really tell from the aerial, but there's a substantial drop-off in elevation, which makes it difficult to find a place to put two houses on these two lots. So that's why they're eliminating that property line between the two lots. Here's a look at the sketch plan. Not really too much to it. There are no easements along that property line, so there's no vacation necessary. And that's about it. There are 3 conditions. We are recommending conditional primary approval.
Thank you, Kathy. Does the petitioner or petitioner's representative wish to make a presentation?
Good evening, Mike Wiley, Schneider Geomatics, 1281 Windhitchell Boulevard, West Lafayette. Well done by Kathy and APC. We are looking to replat 2 lots into 1 lot and also maintaining common area in the ravine area, which is the little triangular piece that you see at the northwest. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have, and we respect, hopefully we get approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Does any member of the audience wish to make a comment on this petition? Any questions from the commissioners? Hearing none, you have a white ballot. Make sure it says Barrington Woods at the top.
No, okay. You're too quick. We have a unanimous ballot for approval.
Thank you.
I move to hear and vote on Z 2894 Jose J. Munoz, MRU to NBU.
I second.
Good evening, David Hiddle with the Area Plan Commission, here with your first rezoning case of the night. This is a request to rezone from MRU, which stands for Medical Research Urban, to NBU, which stands for Neighborhood Business Urban. The lot, the parcel is 3 lots, and it totals 0.38 acres in all. It is improved with 1 structure, as you can see, and a parking area. Right now, it's at the corner of Ferry and 22nd Street. It is zoned MRU because it used to be located in close proximity to Home Hospital, which has since relocated. So there's a lot of MRU zoning in this area, which is, you might say, no longer really applicable. There's been some rezoning of business areas from MRU to NB in recent years. You can see those, a lot of those indicated in red here. And that's exactly what we think is advisable here, is to rezone to NBU. This is in the Columbian Park neighborhood, so it's covered by their plan, which was adopted in 2002, and it recommends the maintenance of local businesses and specifically the MRU classification here. Again, that's no longer applicable because of the hospital, but it did recommend neighborhood business for the adjoining parcels. So petitioner is indicating, I believe, that he desires to move in a beauty salon, which is allowed in NBU but not allowed in MRU, which hence the reason for him coming forth with rezoning in the first place. So staff is supportive of this request and would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, David. Does the petitioner or petitioner's representative wish to make a presentation? Okay, pass. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Any questions from the commissioners? You have a yellow ballot.
We're all clear on that subdivision case, so we can hear that next.
Okay, thank you.
This is Tractor Supply.
You're trying to confuse me, Ryan. Oh, yeah, there is.
Right.
Okay, Gary, we're doing the water tower now. No, you're fine.
So we're back to the water tower.
I hope so.
Okay. Thank you.
I think so.
15 ballots cast, all in favor of the rezoning.
I move to hear and vote on S 5138, Indiana American Water Tower minor sketch.
I second.
Okay. All right, so petitioner's property is located on the west side of Klondike, just north of County Road 250 North. Property is zoned I-1 industrial. It's basically a one-lot subdivision for a water tower. No buildings will be on site. So we've got Point West, mobile home park to the north, more mobile homes to the east, an apartment complex. Lafayette Limo is located on the corner in that GB area there. Here's a look at the aerial photograph and a closer look at the property. I think it's mostly just scrub right now. And here's a look at the sketch plan. It is a flag lot with a 20-foot tail connecting it to Klondike, although there is a larger easement here for ingress, egress, and drainage. And I think it's done that way so it's immediately opposite the driveway that's on the east side of Klondike. That's pretty much all there is to this one. We have 4 conditions. We are recommending conditional primary approval.
Thank you, Kathy. Does the petitioner or petitioner's representative wish to make a presentation?
Not at this time. We're just here to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioners to them right now? Okay. All right. Any member of the audience wishing to speak, wish to comment on the petition? Okay. No questions? You have a white ballot then. each other.
We have a unanimous ballot for approval.
Thank you.
I move to hear and vote on Z 2896, Jerry Kittle, care of Innovative Engineering and Consulting Incorporated, GB to I3.
I second.
All right. Well, we have, in this case, a site that's owned general business, largely surrounded by I3 industrial. This is adjacent to the Tractor Supply Company business is immediately to the east, across the street. The site is undeveloped and is used agriculturally. There is access off of Arletta Court. There is also a point of access in the northwest corner. Looks like there's an approved curb cut. Might be legal, might not be, I'm not sure. Onto the state highway that appears to serve both their property and the adjacent one, but there doesn't appear to be any immediate plans to make use of that. Obviously, if there was any improvements to the request for a driveway curb cut on a state road, that would be under NDOT's authority. Whoa, there we go. We'll leave it on that. The site is never developed, and generally speaking, this area is in sort of the southeast part of Lafayette industrial expansion area, and as evidenced by all that I-3 that you saw there. So, this site bordered by the railroad yard to the south, an existing business, agricultural business to the east, and then undeveloped industrial land. This is easy to recommend approval for, as this generally conforms to that plan amendment. So we are recommending approval. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ryan. Does the petitioner or petitioner's representative wish to make a presentation? No? Okay. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Any questions from the board? Do you have a yellow ballot then?
We have a unanimous ballot for approval.
Thank you, Ryan.
I move to hear and vote on Z 2898, John Schrader, R1U and NBU to NBU.
I second.
Petitioner's property is located at the southeast corner of Schuyler and 18th Street. It is the site of Lefty's Tavern. There are 2 apartments upstairs above the commercial ground floor. The purpose, what they want to do is expand their business. They would like to add a kitchen and some outdoor seating area. So. There we go. So here's a look at the aerial photograph. And a closer look at the property. So staff is recommending in favor of this request, mainly because It's NBU and not GB, so neighborhood business is more neighborhood-friendly than the general business zone. Secondly, there's commercial zoning immediately across the street and even with this property, or fairly close to it anyway. So they're not expanding the commercial zoning further south, if that makes sense. And then lastly, the St. Lawrence McAllister neighborhood plan actually calls for the support and preservation of existing businesses along the Schuyler 15th Street corridor. So for all of those reasons, staff feels comfortable recommending approval.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Does the petitioner or petitioner's representative wish to make a presentation?
Good evening, my name is John Schrader. I'm from Boston on behalf of the owner of Leslie's Tavern, Tom Beasley. And I would just like to say a few things. First, of course, we agree with the staff report. Approval of this rezoning is a good idea and beneficial to the area. The rezone is to a neighborhood business, Indian neighborhood business, urban designation, which is, oh, sorry. Okay. Do you need me to begin from the top to get it on the record, or? Okay. Good evening, I'm John Schrader. I'm here on behalf, public open hearing rules. If nothing else, we need to abide by them. Right, Eric? Okay. Here on behalf of the petitioner and the owner of Lefty's Tavern, Tom Reilly. We agree with the staff report that this rezoning petition should be approved. The request is to rezone it as neighborhood business urban, which is the least intrusive use classification. It is meant to be the buffer between residential zones and more commercial uses. This is completely in line with that character. Going from the staff report, the lots in question used to have houses on them. One was demolished, we were not sure, but as latest at 2010, the other one was in 2020. It's been several years since these two residential lots have gotten any economic use out of them. This rezoning petition, if approved, will allow an increase in the economic value of these lots, an increase in the economic activity in the area. Throughout this rezoning process, I communicated quite a bit with Tom Reilly, and I got a sense of his thoughts on this. I don't think there's anyone in this area who knows more about kind of the history of Lafayette Bar and Girls than Tom. He kept going back to the Monon shops and what the character of the north end of Lafayette is. His plan is that Lefty's Tavern will be what it always has been, a phenomenal place to get a cold beer. He wants to add a kitchen and add some outdoor seating so you can get a bite to eat when you have that beer and have it outside in the warmer months. That is the extent of what we want to do here. It is in line with the character of the neighborhood and in line with the update to the St. Lawrence McAllister plan from 18 years ago. And for all these reasons, I suggest and recommend the staff vote in favor of this approval for rezoning petition. Any questions?
Thank you. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Any questions? Hearing none, you have a yellow ballot.
Just check with the committee
All
for
the other
answers.
stuff,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. What happened? Oh, wait, that one was continued too. Okay.
We have a unanimous ballot for approval.
Thank you. We don't have any administrative matters that I know of. Approval of the August Executive Committee agenda.
Wait a second, Ryan.
Whoops.
Never mind.
You're trying to mess, you're doing your best to mess me up. Now, approval of the August Executive Committee agenda.
I move that the following requests for subdivision be placed on the August 2nd, 2023 Area Plan Commission Executive Committee agenda petitioner's request. Placement thereon being without reference to compliance or non-compliance with the adopted subdivision ordinance. That's S 5140, Potter Farms minor subdivision, minor sketch.
I second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I move the following request for variance from the Unified Zoning Ordinance is not a request for use variance, prohibited from consideration by ordinance and statute. BZA 2114, John Christodoulos.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Director's report.
Thank you. The director's report was distributed via email this morning. I don't have anything in particular to call out, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? All right. Are there any citizens' comments or grievances? Hearing none.
I move to adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Gosh, that Larry's getting fast.